Furina has finally arrived, and her banner has been up for a couple of days now. If you ever enjoy playing Genshin with Xingqiu or Yellen, then you're familiar with their mechanics. In this video that I made for fellow free-to-play players, I'll be talking about C0 Furina's kit, build, weapon, little bit about the team, some little tips about Furina and why I think she is worth pulling. First, I apologize that I'm not doing the voiceover myself because it's rainy season here, and as you may know, I don't have the proper microphone to make YouTube. I've been waiting for calm weather to record but the time keep overlapping. For when I'm working the sky is clear and when I'm home it's raining. I will not take up too much of your time and keep things simple. Yellen and Xingqiu both can do hydro applications off-field, doing damage off-field, and Yellen can buff on-field or active teammates' damage, while Xingqiu can be a pseudo-healer, and gives an interruption resistance with high hydro applications. Furina's existence does not mean she will replace either Yellen or Xingqiu. Before we talk about this further, let's take a quick look at her kit. Furina elemental skill, Uzia, will summon 3 Hydro Fellas. These Hydro Fellas will drain teammates' HP if 1, 2, 3 or 4 party members have more than 50% HP. Based on this number, the Hydro Fellas will gain damage bonus by 110%, 120%, 130%, 140% of their original damage. And they will stop, or will not drain HP that is lower than 50% HP. Numa will summon Little Oceanid that will be stationary, and does interval healing to active character in a certain distance. If I may say, this bead of water that is being hugged by this Little Oceanid, looks like that of Fossiller's beads of water that float towards Nuvalet and Furina after she is executed. Okay, back on track. Both Uzia or Numa summons will share duration, which means switching the arc will not refresh the duration of the skill. Furina's ultimate, it deals AoE hydro damage based on her max HP. During this ultimate, every 1% HP that changes from the whole party will give Furina 1 fanfare point. This works whether their HP is increased or decreased. The fanfare point will buff all the teammates' damage based on fanfare point that Furina gain. At max fanfare point, this buff will give about 75% damage bonus to all party members whether they are on field or off field. This buff or bonus is not attack buff, elemental buff or anything but damage bonus buff. The buff from Furina's ultimate will not work in transformative reaction damage. For example, Hyperbloom reaction, the fanfare point will also increase incoming healing, based on fanfare point Furina has. Passive talents. For elemental skill, Unheard Confession, every 1000 points of Furina's max HP can buff Hydro Fella's damage by 0.7%, up to 28% at max. And decrease the Little Oceanid healing interval by 0.4% up to 16% at max. When the active character receives healing from other than Furina, and if the healing is overflows, Furina will heal the other party member for 2% of their max HP. Last passive, Furina will decrease the cooldown of the aberrant ability by 30%. This is her artifact build. Best in slot is Golden Troop with HP Timepiece, HP Goblet and Crit Circlet. Then Crit, ER and HP for the sub-stat. If you are still looking for the best role for Golden Troop, then a mix of 2 pieces of these artifacts is also viable, until you can get your desired stat from the Golden Troop. And for Furina R1, we may need to put an energy recharge main stat for her, or run a double hydro team for smoother rotation. For your information, to get max status from her passive on R1, you will only need around 32,000 HP on your Furina. And the rest came from the weapon passive which increased HP by 14% in 2 stacks. With this, you can get the maximum bonus from her passive, and if your artifact rolls excluding the timepiece is enough to reach 32,000 HP, hence you can replace the timepiece to energy recharge main stat. That is unless you have a good ER roll on your artifact's sub-stat. But reaching her energy requirement is needed since her buff came from her ultimate, and to get it ready for every rotation, we will need around 200% energy recharge, if Furina is the only Hydro in the party and assuming that her teammates doesn't use a Favonius weapon. As for the Goblet, HP or Hydro, whichever one has good crit roll. But go for HP for the primary. This is a rough estimation of energy recharge required for Furina. If there is a teammate that using Favonius weapon in the party, the ER requirements will be decreased around 30% to 50% depending on how many Favonius wielders in the team, and if they are off-fielder or on-fielder. For Furina's weapon, her best in slot is obviously Splendor of Tranquil Water. For free to play, her best is Festering Desire R5. But due to this weapon gone with time, most new players that missed the event don't have this weapon. Next up is the pipe that we can obtain from fishing around Fontaine. And then Favonius Sword. But Favonius Sword will decrease her damage, better go fishing now. And if you happen to have Key of Cognition, it's also viable, but the passive needs to be triggered on field. For a comparison, this is a table for Furina's best weapon. If they are not mentioned, it means they scored lower than or equal to 6 out of 10. Furina's team is pretty obvious now that her kit revolves around ultimate is HP changing equals damage bonus for the whole party. She is flexible and can be slots in any DPS team, so if you have an on-field DPS in mind, such as Al-Haytham, just pick him and Furina, then throw a healer in, lastly another flex character or sub-DPS. For now, my comfort team is Furina, Jean, DPS and flex. I would love another healer such as Kokomi to be the driver in the team, or Bezu. But sadly, I don't have them. You can pick any healer for Furina's team, but I suggest just go with one buttonhole team healing character. Such as Jean, Charlotte, Barbara, Kokomi, Bezu, Chi-Chi, Yao Yao or Noelle, or any healer that can heal the whole team at the same time. But if you're comfortable with a single target healer such as Kuki Shinobu, Bennett, Diona, etc., then don't let my opinion stop you. Why is it that people prefer a whole team healer to a single target healer? It is because after Furina's ultimate go off, an AoE healing will help us gain more fanfare points faster, which means reaching the cap of 400 fanfare points faster that equal to more damage. Tips for Furina: 1. If we can keep the party above 50% HP, then the Hydro Fellas will maintain their damage at the highest number. 2. Don't bother healing the party yet, if Furina's burst isn't up. But if some character is dying, then heal up. 3. HP Goblet is preferable unless your artifact's sub-stats can reach around 40,000 HP with Hydro Goblet, and around 32,000 HP on C0R1. This is if you want to get the maximum damage bonus from her Ascension passive. 4. Use Energy Recharge Timepiece if Furina is not using an ER weapon. The focus is to get her burst up anytime the cooldown is off, because Furina's damage bonus at max is a whopping 75%. 5. You may, or may not want to swap your artifact in 4 players co-op, because a set of Golden Troop will only work for off-field Furina. 6. Furina is not that consistent in applying Hydro to enemies. Cosplaying the god of water for 500 years seems traumatized her so much that her Hydro application is low. Hence, even if you already have a high ER Furina but want to utilize a vape team with Pyro character like Hudao, you will need a second Hydro in the party. 7. Last tip, just put on a healer on the team, if you are free to play. Her healing is not worth putting up, since she outdamages Xingqiu and Yellen even with Festering Desire. Lastly, is Furina worth pulling? The answer is obvious, yes, but she is not a must-pull. Since the game can be beaten with free characters in the game, the decision she is a must-pull or not becomes personal to every player. She will not replace the role of Xingqiu or Yellen, she will appreciate a second Hydro in the party or even full Hydro party. But mono Hydro these days are always accompanied by one Anemo character for Viridescent Shred. Although her Hydro application tick is low, she offers an AoE scenario where Yellen and Xingqiu are single target. Unlike Yellen where her ramping up buff only works with active character, Furina's buffing ability works with whole party member. This is game changing for me, since most of us love to snapshot buff, like Bennett to Xiongling, and a whole party buff in the game will certainly elevate your whole account, meta-wise. Even though we must have a healer in the party, she already covers that, with her whole team buff and a whopping 75% damage bonus at max. Also the fact that I love playing double Hydro, now both my team in the Abyss can have some improvement with this addition. And you may already know this, but I'll repeat it. Furina's damage is higher than Yellen or Xingqiu with slower tick, and Xingqiu and Yellen does lower, but in a fast tick. Yes, this might seem Furina do the same damage as Yellen and Xingqiu. For example, it's just bigger number with slow tick and smaller number with fast-paced tick. But, Furina only uses her elemental skill, while Yellen and Xingqiu uses their ultimate. This, and also, the fact that Furina can boost that damage further during her ultimate is just another reason why she is worth my freemogems. Okay, thank you if you made it this far. I hope this information is useful for you and helps you make up your mind if you're still on the edge of pulling Furina. I wish you luck on your pull. If you ever want to leave tips and fun facts that I miss or correct anything from this video, let me know. I will pretty much appreciate it. Lastly, stay hydrated and be kind. See you fellas.